All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on something that can feel like a total black box: writing assessment. We're going to break down the science and the systems behind how your essays and reports actually get that grade at the top of the page. You know the feeling, right? You get a paper back, you see the grade, and the feedback feels, well, kind of like a mystery. You're left wondering, what exactly were they looking for? Well, today we are going to decode that entire process for you. Turns out, graders are pretty much looking at two big categories of stuff. First up, you've got your micro skills. Think of these as the nuts and bolts, all the little details like spelling, grammar, punctuation. And on the other side, you've got the macro skills. This is the big picture stuff. Is your argument logical? Is it organized well? What's the overall style? And here's the real kicker. You absolutely need both. You can't have one without the other. I mean, perfect grammar isn't going to save a disorganized, confusing argument. And a brilliant idea that's just full of spelling mistakes, it's going to fall flat. Truly great writing is a perfect blend of both of these.
So, how do we even start to build these skills? Well, you can think of it like climbing a staircase. And the very first step is all about learning the absolute fundamental rules.
This first level is called imitative writing. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's about imitating the correct forms. This is where every single one of us starts, just focusing on getting the shape of our letters right and spelling basic words correctly. And the tests for this level probably look super familiar to you. I mean, think back to elementary school handwriting practice, those weekly spelling tests, or just copying sentences perfectly from the board. All of those tasks are designed to build those foundational, imitative skills. They give you the basic tools you need before you can even think about building anything bigger. Okay, let's head up to the next step on the staircase. Once you know the basic rules, you can start putting the blocks together, but in a really controlled way. And this brings us to what's called intensive or controlled writing. Here, the focus totally shifts. It's not just about forming letters anymore. It's about using grammar and vocabulary correctly inside a sentence. At this stage, it's really less about creativity and way more about pure accuracy. So the tasks here get a lot more focused on control. Things like dictation, where you have to write down exactly what you hear, or grammatical puzzles like changing a sentence from past to present tense. Those all test your command of the language. Even unscrambling a jumbled sentence forces you to prove that you really understand correct sentence structure. Okay, so you've mastered the mechanics. You can build a perfect sentence. Now comes the biggest leap of all: using those sentences to create actual, real meaning. This is where we get into responsive and extensive writing. This is where your own ideas, your arguments, and your unique voice really start to shine. We're talking about the whole shebang here, from writing a solid, coherent paragraph all the way up to constructing a complex research paper. At this level, the training wheels really come off. You're now being asked to do things like paraphrase complicated ideas, write out detailed answers to questions, and of course, craft full essays. This is where those macro skills we talked about, your ability to organize your thoughts and build a compelling argument, are truly put to the test. But, this brings up a huge question. It's pretty easy to grade a spelling test. A word is either right or it's wrong. But how in the world do you grade an essay fairly? How do you make sure that two different teachers would give the same paper a similar score? That consistency, that's the real challenge here. So, let's just tackle that question head on. How do graders bring some objectivity to something that feels so subjective? Turns out they use very specific, structured methods to do it. To keep things fair, graders usually use one of three main methods. First up, there's holistic scoring. That's just one single score based on the overall impression of the paper. It's fast, and it gives a good general feel. Then you've got primary trait scoring. This is way more focused. It zooms in on just one specific thing, like how persuasive was this argument. And finally, there's analytic scoring. This is the most detailed of all. It gives you separate scores for different parts, like content, organization, and grammar, which gives you really specific feedback on where to improve. So the main takeaway here is that the scoring method isn't random. It's always chosen for a specific reason. A quick in-class paragraph might just get a quick holistic score, but a big research paper? That's probably going to need that detailed analytic breakdown so you can actually learn from it and improve. But you know what? Modern assessment is evolving. It's starting to look beyond just that final paper you turn in at the deadline. Because we all know that great writing isn't some kind of magic. It's a process. It starts with just brainstorming and outlining your ideas. Then you get a first draft down on paper. And then, maybe most importantly, you go back and revise and edit that draft. Good assessment, real assessment, gives you feedback at every single one of these stages, not just on the finished product. And really, this is the ultimate goal. The whole point of all of this, the different levels, the scoring systems, the feedback, it's not just about producing one good essay. It's about building a better, more confident, and more skilled writer for the long haul. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. If all the real learning happens during the messy process of brainstorming, drafting, and revising, then should that final grade be the only thing that really matters in the end? It's definitely something to consider, whether you're the one holding the pen or the one waiting to get your paper back.